what do I want to do? Because I really didn't want to become an employee again. Being an entrepreneur and having my own business, I guess that's something I've always thought about doing, but I've never done it before.
I love bookkeeping.
Hey, welcome everyone to the I Love Bookkeeping show. I am your host, Ben Robinson, and today we have a treat. We have somebody that I'm the pleasure of speaking with. He has been in the Navy for 23 years. He still is in the Navy. He's serving 27 clients. Get this, y'all. 27 clients, active duty military. He's got 3 children. He's married. His 3 children are ages 17, 19, and 21. He's been married for 22 years. I just am very impressed by this man. Welcome to the show, Chris Aborqui.
Hi. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
Well, yeah. And so it's really awesome. You just told me that you're doing this from your car.
Yes.
You active duty military. I assume that you're on break or something right now.
Yeah, taking an extended lunch.
It's extended lunch. So thank you for that right now. I want to make sure that this is worth your bang. But first of all, thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And I know you're a veteran as well, so thank you for your service.
Yes. Well, I wasn't for 23 years. I was only for 4 years, and I was in the chair force, as people would call it. But it was probably the best 4 years and the most enlightening experience of my life. So, but man, how in the world are you serving 27 clients, active duty military? Are you taking speed or something? What's going on here, Chris? I know you can't do that in the military.
No.
But how do you do that?
The military is pretty structured. So, but that's pretty much why we're talking today and working on that structure. But to tell you the truth, I really don't know how I'm doing it right now. I'm kind of like in a fog. Currently right now, of course, with the as we're recording this is tax season, so. I do have 2 helpers that work with me, and that's just recently this year. So I guess that's. But I would say the main reason why I'm able to do it is because of my wife. I mean, she works a job, but she's really helping me, keeping me on track, making sure I'm getting enough sleep.
Yeah, good for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's back up a little bit. What made you decide to start a bookkeeping business?
Okay. Yeah. So it was January of last year, 2018. I'm thinking about, because I'm 2 years away from retiring from the military at that time. So I'm like, what do I want to do? Because I really didn't want to become an employee again. I being an entrepreneur and having my own business, I guess that's something I've always thought about doing, but I've never done it before. So I was like, what can I do to, start my own business? What do I like? And then I've of course found your, course, Business Bookkeeper Launch. So that, really piqued my interest, watched the videos, and I said, I can do that. I know how to balance a checkbook. And then, I signed up for the course at the end of January of 2018 and, finished it in March of 2018 . So, yeah.
Okay. So a year ago, you were sitting here, and how many clients when you finished the course did you have?
None. I didn't have any clients.
Okay. And then a year later, you have 27 clients. So, Chris, you're doing something majorly right here. I want to tap into this today. I want other people to be able to see that. We'll get there, but let's kind of walk through. So you finished the course in March 2018. When did you land that first client?
It would be the following month, April. Got my first client. I was looking on Craigslist, just looking for jobs that are hiring bookkeepers, and somebody posted that they were looking for a bookkeeper. It was, maybe 3 to 4 days a week or that they needed. So I just reached out to them and said, have you ever thought about hiring a remote bookkeeper? And so we set up a meeting, and I still have that client today.
Wow. That's awesome. So that's one client.
Yes.
So the other 26, like, what have been the places in which you have found them?
So I used that money from that first client, and joined BNI, the following month in May. So I took that and applied that towards my BNI membership. And within a few months in BNI, within the first month of BNI, I got my first BNI client, which was, a person in the group. and then it just pretty much was BNI as referrals that got me to probably about 10 clients by October. Yeah, that's about I was up to 10 by October, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, BNI
All right.
referral networking. Other than that, that was my only marketing was in BNI.
So all 27 clients have come either word of mouth or BNI.
Well, some I've done a couple of paid leads. I would say I would say 5 of them. So I probably paid for about 8 leads, and 5 of them ended up signing on. So it pretty much paid for that. But those paid leads are like hit and miss. So you really have to sell yourself on those. So
Yeah. What system were you using to get those paid leads?
Oh,
Were you doing it or?
no, I used Bark and what's it? What is it? Thumbtack? No.
Thumbtack?
Yeah, I think it is Thumbtack, right? Yes. But
Yeah.
Bark is the one that I got the leads on. There's not too much competition, I don't think, on Bark because you have to pay to get the contact with the info. So I don't think a lot of people reach out to them because of that. And then so when I did reach out to them, they're like, "Well, you contacted me right away," and I guess they were impressed with that.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So for those who don't know, BNI, it's Bravo November India. This stands for Business Networking International. It's a place to which you go and network. So I'd like to chat with you a little bit about that. Chris, so you said you took that money from the very first client, you invested it back into your business through a BNI membership. So you go to these, kind of give us a walkthrough of what it's like to be in BNI and to get clients in that setting.
Well, the meetings are structured. So, the first 15 minutes you get there, it's all about just introducing yourself, talking to people in the network. And then, you sit down and, they go around the room first for, members to give a 30 to 60 second commercial, your elevator speech, right off the bat, pass your business cards around. And if somebody likes what you say or hear what you say, then they approach you after the meeting because you pretty much can't talk until after the meeting after that because everything's pretty structured and routine. And then, that's, basically that's it. And during the meeting, one of the members, they rotate, somebody gives a 10-minute presentation because, 60 seconds, you really can't go into too much detail about what you do. So, every member is given 10 minutes every week to present something. So that's where you really need to shine at.
I gotcha. Mm-hmm. So is that something that you enjoy doing? Are you comfortable in that setting?
Oh, no. No.
Okay.
I am, no. I think I was just recently most voted most likely to eat lunch by myself. Yeah, of all my peers that I work with here, they had some awards, and that was another one. Another one was most likely to be invisible. Yeah, that was me. So yeah, I'm a definite introvert.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, I can relate to that as well, as a lot of bookkeeping professionals can do that. But you still went and did it anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I did it scared. I went there and I went to that first meeting, and like one person came and talked to me, and then after that, it was like, okay, what do I do now? Do I have to go talk to somebody else? So I was just pretty much a wallflower. So. That first meeting that I went to, it kind of almost turned me off to BNI because I didn't feel welcome there at that meeting. But then I realized, I was informed you should go to other meetings. And then the next one I went to, it was a Ditmas atmosphere. It was really energized. Everybody was really friendly, talking to me, and actually made me feel really welcome, helped me open up. But it took me a good 6 months before I really felt comfortable in going to these meetings and actually enjoy them now.
Yeah, that's awesome. We always say, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes.
It's a great title of a book by Susan Jeffers, but it's also something that you have to do if you're going to start a business. Speaking of that, looking back over the course of the past, little over a year now, are there things that you wish you would have known that you didn't, that you've come across, good, bad, ugly? We like to keep it real here. because we always say starting a business is not for everyone, and it's certainly not easy.
But I mean, I feel like I'm still pretty new as far as it goes. But uh, I I really I don't know. The way I feel is some people are really really good at just talking to people and starting a business and absorb information better than others. And I feel like that's the way I was. Like I didn't have any bookkeeping background or accounting background. I load bombs for a living. That's my job in the military. Is just they call us a BB stacker. So you just load bombs on a plane. So I really don't have any real formal education other than I can pick up things pretty fast. And, introverts have a real good, notice a lot of things. We're really good at picking things out. So, I don't really know, like, really what I would do differently.
Wow. I mean, okay, so loading bombs by day, dropping bookkeeping bombs at night and any other time. Wow, that is, yeah, there's no margin for error there. So I can see the translation in what you're doing at your in the Navy serving and what you're doing here. That's amazing. No margin for error there.
I think really, I would think I wish I probably would have started my education at when I first joined the military instead of like like most people join the military because they don't want to go to college. And I wish I would have started earlier. I'm not saying that I need a degree, but I just think that helps you learn, the different learning techniques that you learn in college or things that by reading books more. But, I just feel that could have helped me out earlier in my career, but, it seems to work out anyway.
You're kind of like me. When people ask me questions like, how did you do it? You kind of look at them with puzzle. You're like, I just did it. Yeah. It's kind of like, what it doesn't take a rocket science to figure it out, dude. Because you said on here, hey, I had a associate's degree in business administration, so I decided I want to get a BA in accounting. So I'm going to do that and have it done by the end of the year. Just doing it.
Yes, and I tried to do that, because I started doing taxes back in 2010, and that's kind of how I got involved in it. And I thought accounting would be fun because I liked doing taxes. I liked doing the process, but it wasn't fun going through accounting classes, and I just did the bare minimum just to get my degree, my general associate's degree, because I had to take 2 of those classes. So I didn't see accounting in my future at all at that time.
Right. Well, here you are.
Yes.
Right here.
And I actually like it. I actually like it now. So yes, I am finishing my bachelor's degree. But only because I just want the education. I just want to learn more.
Yeah, in your spare time.
In my spare time.
So,
yes.
So 3 kids, marriage, it's outlasts forever. 23 years, loading bombs, 27 clients. Yeah, I would have to have some sort of illegal substance in my system in order to do that. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
How much longer do you plan on staying in the military?
Well, I have to do 1 more year. So May of 2020 next year is my actual retirement date. I did request to retire a year earlier because the business started picking up so fast that I said, well, I already did over 20, so I'm eligible to retire. So I put in my request to retire at 23 years. It got approved all the way up, my command, everybody approved it, but it got all the way to the top, and the Navy said, no, you signed on for 24, we're going to hold you to it. So it kind of forced me into expanding my business with hiring employees and becoming more of a manager than faster than I wanted to, and faster than I was ready for.
Well, that's kind of a silver lining there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it forced you into that. And so let's lean out 3 years from now. So you've been retired from the Navy for 2 years, right? So a year from now, you'll be retired, and then 3 years out. What does this business look like? What does your life look like? And how does your business feed the lifestyle that you want?
Well, so my initial goals for this business are completely different. In 1 year, they changed so much. But 5 years from now or 3 years from now, my plan is to just to manage the I say the firm or the practice, and just, do the marketing, bringing in the clients, doing the meetings, but having bookkeepers do the work, and me just manage it. That's my ultimate goal now. It wasn't at the beginning.
Okay. Sure.
But
yeah.
As far as a salary or a figure,
But you don't have to.
I haven't really
information,
thought about that. So that's I just want to live a simple life.
Simple life with 30-something clients. Yeah.
Well, that's only that was my goal to end at 30 clients at the end of the year. That was my goal, but it's already happening. It's too fast.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. And I know, I have the pleasure of next week getting to meet you at Outstanding Processes and Procedures that we're going to be talking about. So you're going to be overflowing with stuff, with information, and it's all, though, about implementation. That's what I think we want to chat about today. So why don't you kind of tee up the opportunity? I always like to phrase it as a positive thing, right? It's an opportunity, challenge, whatever you want to call it. What is it that we want to chat about today so we can help you to break through any barriers that are before you?
So I guess the main thing would be like, and I've listened to a couple of other shows, and that's really helped out a lot. But like waking up in the middle of the night and say like, oh, did I do that? Or I forgot to send this out, or that's just what's killing me right now. It's like I always feel like I'm forgetting to do something, or I need to do something, or I didn't write it down, or I forgot, or did I forget to do this? That's what's killing me right now. In the beginning, it was really easy to keep on track of everything, but with everything, all these clients coming in, and oh my gosh, and to try to implement processes right now, I know I need to be doing it, and I'm trying to. But I just get squirrel, and then and then I just lose I lose focus, and then I jump to another client, and then I forget about what I was doing with the other client. Oh my gosh, that's why I'm looking forward to this next week.
Sure. Well, let's see if we can get you a little jump start here today with that, and I'll actually give you a quick rundown of what we'll cover next week at OPP. A quick way to do that where you get the work done and you document your process, but we'll get there in just a second. But you mentioned something, when you had your first handful of clients, 4 or 5 clients, everything was fine.
Yes.
Right. So it's like juggling. If you have 4 balls, if you're a good juggler, I can't even juggle 1 ball hardly. But if you are a juggler, you can handle 4 balls. But imagine having 27 balls in the air versus 4. It's a lot more difficult. And every time we add a client, we're trying to pushing the envelope, right? But backing up, you're waking up in the middle of the night, you're thinking about things that need to be done. Has anything yet fallen through the cracks that's major with any of your clients?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right. So one of the things that I want you to do is to take refuge in that nothing has ever happened before that's fallen through the cracks for your clients. It's kind of hard to say. Nothing has happened. So take refuge and solace in that. But as you're adding these clients, the likelihood of that happening is increasing, right? So, but that's the first thing, is to acknowledge. And heck, man, just to acknowledge what you have done there's people listening to this show, Chris, that have been doing this for 30 years that don't have the number of clients that you have. So you're baller in that area, and you're doing something right. You're not losing clients. I mean, everything that you're doing, you're doing right.
Well, I haven't included my tax clients. That's a whole nother number of clients.
Yeah, we can't talk about anything else you do, because I can't even process how you're doing anything more than what we're talking about here already. So I'm forget you even said that. Because that's a lot of stuff there, and you're just somebody who's motivated, and you're somebody who's willing to do it. But you're also smart in that, hey, you're trying to figure out, how do I scale this, right? How do I remove myself? How do I make sure that things aren't falling through the crack and I have a well-oiled machine?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. That's very important. Okay. So the result of this, like what we're going to be talking about today, what would be the outcome that you're looking for specifically?
I mean, we're going to be covering it, but, and you've covered a few times, but, like, I guess like, I workflow, but but that would be my main thing. I understand it, but maybe just putting it down, talking to somebody, and I want to just be able to, hey, this is what I want to do, and can you put it down on paper for me, or put the system in for me? That's basically what I'm hoping to look for or find out or accomplish this year. Because that was one of my visions this year, is to be able to have all these processes in place that somebody could just walk in and everything's already laid out, how to do it, and not have to spend so many hours just training somebody new, but have those checklists in place already. That was my goal for the year. Not number of clients, not number of revenue, but just those processes.
Okay. All right. Easy enough. Yeah. I would say that you're looking for order from chaos, or potential chaos. And also, I heard you say at the beginning, you really like the marketing aspect of it and meeting with clients and going over the financial statements. Is that correct?
Yes. And the tax
probably
stuff.
Okay. All right. So that's your unique ability. By that, we mean it's something that you're really, really good at. And it also charges you. It gets you excited. You look at that on your to-do list and you're like, yes.
Yes.
And it's not something you're putting off because you don't want to do it, right?
Yes, that's right.
So on the other side of having this is that you're able to do more of that. And that's great, because that's what we call $1,000 and $500 an hour work. Going to BNI, landing that client that you're going to have for 7 years. People are saying, well, that's not $1,000 an hour work. Well, that's baloney, because you can already tell me that every time you go to a BNI meeting, it's yielded well over $1,000 inside of that hour that you spent there, or 2 hours, or whatever the case may be. But that's great that you want to do those things. I actually talk to people that are like, you know what, I just want to be able to focus on reconciling the bank accounts. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Then why are you in this business, right?
Yes.
That's fine for some people. They're called crazy bookkeeping professionals, but and that's not going to provide us with security. But really thinking about creating order, making sure that everything is happening and nothing is falling through the cracks, right? So that is simple. Let me give you first, and it's funny. I go over this process so many times on this show because it works, and people who do it just embrace it, and they're like, "Holy cow! Why didn't I think of that?" So you're doing work for clients right now, right?
Yes, majority of them.
Okay. So you got monthly, you got tasks that you're doing, you got processes. And so you're doing the work. It needs to be done on a monthly or some sort of routine basis, right?
Yes. Okay.
Do you have a screen capture software like a Snagit or something like that where you can record what you're doing on screen?
Yes, and I've started.
Okay. All right. So you kind of are already on this. But what we were doing is that every single task or process that you're doing, what I want you to start doing is to fire up Snagit or whatever you're using as a screen recording. And I want you to do it and speak it. Okay. So, hey, right now I'm working on bank reconciliation. I go here, blah, blah, blah. Take your mouse and go over all of that. Just do the work and orally say what you're doing. And default to giving away too much information, go here and click this green button. You're doing it. You're speaking it. Okay. And you're getting it recorded. It's being put into an MP4, okay, which is video and audio. And so you're getting the work done. And now you're recording what is actually being done. That's step one. Does that make sense? Okay. So what you want to do on these videos, you want to keep them as short as possible. So if they're going above like 10, 15 minutes, you probably want to divide it into two. Okay. Because our attention spans, and when we start talking about the checklist, that is, it's going to make it easier. Okay. But step one, get the client work done, record it and speak it. It may take you, a little bit more, a little bit longer to do the work, but not much. And this is a huge lever for you, Chris. This is something that's going to give you that order that you're looking for. Now, you've got the video and the audio. Now what you do is you get that transcribed. Okay. I use a service called rev.com or rev.com. They charge $1 a minute for transcription. Okay. So for, let's say it's 15 minutes, it's going to cost you $15. But in return, you get back a Word document that you can alter and that you can cut out all the ums. They'll actually do it for you for a little bit more, but you're going to clean that up. Okay. So what we have up to this point, you have a video. You're showing me exactly what is being done. And then I have a transcription, because when you start to train other people, some people learn by watching, by visual. Some people learn by reading. Some people learn in other methods. So what we want to do is create multiple modalities so that you can impart this knowledge to other people, right? And then finally, what you want to do, okay, you want to get somebody to clean up that transcript. So at first, I recommend that you do it because it doesn't take that long, but you want to kind of get rid of, hey, they don't really need to know that, or I need to elaborate a little bit more on this as you see it written because it's different from a video. But once you do that, so you've got the raw video showing the process. So if I were to come into your business, you could say, hey, watch this video and do this. I could probably do it. But now you say, hey, watch this video and do this. And if you need more, then here is the transcript where you can actually go and read. And by the way, you can get captions done on this for $1 a minute too. You can do a lot of fancy stuff. But right now, video, written form, cleaned up. And then finally, what you want to do is to say, what are the 5 or 6 key things that need to be done in this process? And that is where you create a checklist. Okay. A checklist is not a process. A checklist is a component of a process. So you've shown me in a video, I've got a transcript, and now I have the checklist. Okay. So this isn't click the green button. This is make sure that the bank account is reconciled. Okay. That's a big overarching thing. How do I reconcile it is in the detail. Okay. But I want to make sure that if I'm imparting this to someone else, they've done that, right? They've reconciled the bank account. Now, when you create a checklist, I'm sure that you in your position have checklists for checklists,
Yes,
right?
I like checklists.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Checklists are a beautiful thing. But what I want you to do, I don't know how yours look, but in mine in the military, and I learned this, is if you'll Google Cessna 172S checklists, you're going to see the format that I want you to use. And what it is, it's basically the size of think of 3, I'm holding in my hand, 3 3x5 index cards. So it's not a full sheet of paper, right? It's like a half a size of a paper. And they're very basic. They're not run-on sentences. It's one sentence that all fits on one line. And you can see these examples. Obviously, it has nothing to do with bookkeeping, but it makes it so much easier when you see how a checklist should actually be. If that checklist is not going to fit on that page with normal font, don't put the 6-point font on there. But if it's not going to fit on that page, that's not an effective checklist. That means that process needs to be divvied up into 2 processes. But now what you have done, okay, you've gotten the client work done. You have defined a process. Now, you have defined the process as is, and we could talk about improving that process. But right now, you're ahead of about 98% of all bookkeeping and accounting professionals out there because you have documented your process. And it's not taking you very much longer. It's not cost you a lot of money. It may cost you $100 a process. But think about that. Think about the power that you have there because, and we'll talk about this next week here too, but processes before people. The biggest mistake I made in my business or my practice is that I thought, hey, I'm so dang busy here. I need to just hire some people and they will take care of all of the chaos. Well, guess what? That led to more chaos because my fault. I didn't have established processes. I had chaos. And by doing this, you're setting yourself up to bring people aboard to handle those things that you could do that you shouldn't be doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I'm on board.
We've had several people. What's that?
I said I'm on board.
Okay. All right. So that's one way in which to do that. Now, that doesn't really handle, what you were talking about in terms of things falling through the cracks, right? This is kind of like a way in which to ensure that doesn't happen. But you're going to be in a transition period here of going from you doing most of the work to you outsourcing, delegating most of the work. And so it takes a different mindset for you, okay, where you stop playing the role of doer and you play the role of reviewer. And in that, it's kind of like what got you here isn't going to get you there. So think about when you first started doing the job that you're doing now. You were probably doing it, and I would bet that now you are overseeing a crew that's doing a lot of it as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it took a different mindset for you when you started watching others doing it, right? Now, you know how to do it. And that's the good news, right? And you can spot when somebody's doing it wrong. Now you know what needs to be done. But now you're looking at it from different set of eyes than you were before. And that's a topic we'll talk about that next week here at the intensive that we're doing. But that's something that we have to get into a new mindset. And that's one of the great things about our businesses is that it's never status quo. It's always us learning. It's always us doing something different, which I think is positive.
Yes.
But these are what you want to do in these processes. And I recommend starting with the ones that you really don't like, but need to be done and are client forward. I am going through this. As a matter of fact, this almost sounds like a carbon copy of a show that I did recently, where I was going through this and explaining that this is something that we're going through in our business that I'm personally going through with my virtual assistant. And I'll tell you, when you first start doing this, Chris, it's going to feel awkward and it's going to feel like you're less efficient. And that's because you are less efficient and it is awkward. But give it time and you're going to start to embrace this. You know that you've embraced this when you start looking for things to offboard. You're going, like here, like for me, I would come in every single morning and have like 150 emails. And now I come in and there's 3. So I literally went from 30 minutes every single day of emails to 3 minutes every single day. 27 minutes a day that I have more. That's huge, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. That's over 2 hours. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes a week that I got back that I didn't need to be doing. That now my virtual assistant, she's really good at that. Most of them didn't ever require my attention. And the ones that do, I still take care of. But she filters through all the other stuff. And if it's a standard response, she knows how to respond to it. Obviously, with her being the signature person so that they know that they're who they're communicating with. But I'm getting rid of that stuff. Okay. Now, that's not client forward, but it's something now I could take that 2 hours and 15 minutes and focus on doing client forward stuff. So that's a huge thing for you to start doing. Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, it's, that's what I need to do. And I understand. I just need to buckle down and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll be giving you a ton of resources and all in that. But just for people who are out there, a couple of books that I want to recommend on this. It doesn't really get into the nitty gritty of like how to create a checklist. You don't need all of that. But check out a book called Traction. Last name is Wickman, I think. Traction is a great book. And there's some accompanying books that go with that. But that's more on kind of creating a machine of your organization. Of course, we always talk about E-Myth by Michael Gerber or E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Great there. Again, it's not going to tell you. There's actually an E-Myth for bookkeeping professionals. I've read it. It's okay. I think that the regular one is fine. Get whatever that you want there. But those are really good on creating this machine because, look, your business is a system. And your system is a series of processes that get the work done. So when we look at a service-based business, the only thing that we have to sell is a system, right? So what is the value in that system? Well, the value in that system is clearly defined processes. That's it, right? It's that in a client list. When you look at selling this, which is what a lot of us don't consider, if we build this right and you do this, you become infinitely more valuable to me buying it rather than if you're in there doing it every single day. Because if I come in and buy you and I have to fill your role, I'm not buying a business, I'm buying a job. And that means it's not worth very much. But if I'm coming in where you're going, look, I work 20 hours a week, have all these clients, that's a much more valuable proposition for me. And at some point in your life, you'll want to sell it, right? Or you'll want to hand it down to your children or something like that. Regardless of what that intent is, this makes it so much more valuable when you have everything streamlined.
Yes.
When you can come in and explain it to me and go, it's going to require 10 hours a week of your time, and here's what that 10 hours entails.
I mean, because with my job and what I do, I mean, that's checklists and streamlining the process and always training new people. Pick up a lot of these habits, but it's easier said than done. You could say I need to do this, but actually buckling down and doing it, that's where the hard work comes in.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be, so for you, Chris, and for everyone else out there, you have to be committed to this process.
Yes.
You can't do this half-ass. You can't pay it lip service. You have to persevere because, just like going to that first BNI, which is kind of the reasons that I'm asking about that, it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like you should be doing that. And whenever I feel that in my life, I'm kind of like, I probably should be doing this.
Yes.
Rather than fighting it and just considering that. But this is a huge lever, a huge dial for you to get results that you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about like capturing all the things that need to be done. So kind of explain, like, is there a specific instance that you can think of where you thought, oh crap, I didn't get this done? Obviously you did get it done later down the road, but it was kind of chaos in between.
Let's see. Sending out their financial statements to them, because most of the time I'm waiting on the bank statement from them so I can reconcile and verify everything, and then send them the financials, and then I'll be like, okay, well, you get it to me Friday, and then I'll send them to you next week, or we can go over them next week, and then then I move on to something else, and then if they do send them to me, I might not see the email right away, and then now I'm doing it later than when I told them. Things like that bother me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Are you using any kind of system right now of technical or paper wise to kind of watch this process go along?
That's what I'm implementing. So, I'm looking at all these different CRMs and all these different processes. But then I just go back to a dang spreadsheet because it's simple. I don't have to take time to learn it, but I know I need something better. But that
why?
Huh?
Why do you say that? Why do you say you need something better?
Because it takes you have to go and open that spreadsheet and update it, and I need something that shows me the process, like a progress of how I'm doing. I don't know. If I can get away from spreadsheets, I mean, I like spreadsheets myself, but I want to try to get away from it. I want to implement a system because I don't think I could keep scaling the way I am and do everything on a spreadsheet. So I just want to try to implement it now before I get even bigger. But yes, spreadsheet is kind of what I'm using now.
All right. Well, there's this in architecture, there's this thing called form and function, right? So the function is getting the thing done. The form that it takes can be many things. And so many times, bookkeeping professionals, accounting professionals think that an app or a piece of technology is going to do the trick, right? Like, the only thing I have to do is get Asana and all of my woes are going to be taken away.
No? Oh my
that's
gosh.
absolutely false. Now, but the thing you have to consider here, Chris, is that you need to have this documented, and I like to do it at first in a rudimentary way. Okay, so let me show you. I wish that I would have my video. I could show you on my wall. Okay, I'm in my home office, and I have a wall of a dry erase board that is 11 and a half feet wide and 8 feet tall.
Yes, I've seen it.
Literally, it's a huge
I've seen the picture.
Yeah. You've seen the
I've
pictures. Okay. This is where I start. So when we were starting this show, what did I do to define my process? I took my dry erase board. I went up there with my marker and I mapped it out. I took a picture of this and I shared it with Beth, my virtual assistant, and Kelly, my operations person, and Ross, my marketing person, and also the podcast people. I shared it with 4 people. They looked at it and they go, yeah, but you're going to have to do this, this, and this. I went over there and I erased it, took a picture. Is this it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. Boom. There's my process. Now we can go and put it in Asana, which is what we use. But I'll be honest with you. I never, ever, 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 ever go into Asana, and nobody would let me do that. Okay, because I just screw things up like that. But what did I start with? I started with a pen and a dry erase board. It doesn't even have to be that. It can be on piece of paper. But I love those pieces of paper that are, I think, 11 by 17. So basically it's like, 2 pieces of paper together to map these out. And I strongly, strongly urge you, Chris, and every single person out there to do this with pen and paper. Don't even use a spreadsheet at first. because kinesthetically, you're connecting your process to your brain through your hand and your pen or your pencil. And so many people think that this Asana is great, right? It is. So it's nothing to do with the technology's not there. It's with, we expect the technology, which is form, to take care of our function, which is actually what should be done. And so I recommend that you start at a most rudimentary level and move up to the spreadsheet. And if the spreadsheet works for you and you're able to share that with other people, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Now, I agree with you that at some point when you start to scale this, you probably will need something a little bit more robust. But I don't implement that stuff. Sometimes it's to a fault where I wait too long and I should have started earlier, but it was working. So don't look at the shiny object over here, which is a piece of technology or the app. Look to the function. Look to the thing that you're trying to get accomplished and mapping that out. And then once you get that done, now you can go put it into a piece of technology that's going to be a lever. Does that make sense?
I need a team like you, the A team, and I just tell them what I want and they do it. That's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
But right now, yes.
Yeah, but okay, but and that's a great, I'm glad that you said that, because what if one of those 18 members leave, right? What if Mr. T decides that he wants to retire? Here's the deal. We don't want to be totally dependent upon a person, right? We got to have great people, but we got to couple those great people with great processes. And when we have that, then if Mr. T retires, now I can go over and say, hey, new Mr. T or Miss T, here's the process. And it's not a gape in my business because that person left me. And I have been in that position too, where one person left and everything went to hell, and that was not a good thing. And that's not what you want.
That's why we need these processes in place.
And so do whatever makes you, do it as rudimentary as possible. If you could get a chisel and a piece of whetstone and you could do that in there, then fine, do that, whatever. But connect it to your brain and then go and employ technology.
Yeah, because that technology stuff is hard. Hard stuff.
Look, technology by default is complication, and I like to simplify. Yes. What we have to say when we're considering technology is, does what it does behind the scenes override the chaos that's ensuing right now? But technology is not the answer. Okay, is part of an answer maybe, but it's not where we start. It's like in marketing, people say, well, should I advertise on Facebook or LinkedIn or something? I'm like, no, you started wrong. You started with media. You got to start with your market. Who's your market? And then what's your message to that market? Only then can you say, what's the media? Same thing here with this. We got to stay focused on what's most important.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think most of my business has grown is just from just being basic. I mean, other than just my local BNI, I mean, everything's just pretty much basic. I'm not going out and updating Facebook pages and LinkedIn profiles. I haven't even done any of that yet. I'm just pretty basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you hadn't needed it, right? And so it's the same thing here with your operational side of things, right? If the spreadsheet is working for you right now what happens is that you get, let's say, 2 team members, and now it's starting to become cumbersome. And then as a team, you say, okay, this is becoming more work than it is a gain for us. So what can we use to replace this? But until that need arises, if it's working right now, don't change it.
I think maybe the biggest thing I probably would really need right now is like a VA. I think that's what I really need.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We're going to talk about that ad nauseum next week. That is 100% correct. That's who
I think that'll save me some sleepless nights. Somebody helping me keep on track.
Dude, you are going to be loving life here in a couple of weeks after you do this. We actually have my VA, Beth, is coming next week to present from her side of things. So it's going to make you even more in that regard.
That's why when once you announced Bookkeeper Elite, I was like, refresh, hurry up and start this program. I need it.
Yeah. I know. I wish that I'd have had something like that. Now, the other part of this is like, hey, things falling through the cracks. Obviously, the spreadsheet and all that can do it. But let me tell you, again, so up on my big board, there's 3 big panels. But I've got big wins for the week. So the 3 things that I need to get done. I sometimes have other things that I have to get done. If I think of something, then I go and I write it on the board. Later on, I can put it into a piece of technology, but I go and write it on the board. I have to do that. I had a dedicated notebook before where I would go and write that stuff, but it wasn't in front of me all the time. But the way I position my desk, I'm looking at it all the time. So literally, probably 10 times a day, I look up at the board, I look at my big wins. I'm like, okay, where am I on that? Okay, I'm looking at my takeaways. I'm looking at my action items. I've got the outline for the intensive that we're doing next week. So all these things are in front of me. You don't have to go and invest in one of these things right here. You can just go to Office Max or Office Depot or whatever, or go to Amazon.com and get whatever works for you. You can just get that big paper and put it on there. That's what I used to do that as well, is to get on there. But having this in front of you, I think, is key.
Yes.
And when you think about something, go write it on there. Keep a note tablet by your bed so that in case you do wake up in the middle of the night, you write it down and then you can go back to sleep.
Yes. I'm gonna have a big notebook by my bed then.
Yeah. Your wife might be very happy waking her up in the middle of the night. Hey, honey, I just thought of something. You're probably going, that's not what you want to do there. But that's how I do things. I'm not an anti-technology guy. I'm actually the opposite of that. I believe technology, but I don't believe that it is the solution.
No.
I believe it can help to be part of the solution, but it is in no way a solution. And that's where so many people get frustrated. I see it all the time in our groups and otherwise of people going, hey, what app do I need? And I'm like, whoa, if you're asking what app and you're not leading off with what you need it exactly for and you have that defined, you're asking for trouble.
Yes. Yeah, I read some of those things and I'm like, what are they talking about? I have no idea what that means.
Yeah. There's 100 different apps, but apps are going to come and go. As we talked today, I think that Trello and Asana are two of the big ones for project management that I see. And there's a host of other ones I know that people out there are going, well, what about this one? Whatever. Right. But in 5 years, it's likely that one or both of those are going to be extinct. And when that happens, what are you going to rely on? Well, I'm going to use this new technology, but I'm going to lean on my process.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's what I need.
Yeah. And just writing things down. And I think that you feel guilty because you don't have that piece of technology when you don't need it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I read everybody posting how they do their project management, how they manage their clients. And I'm like, well, I think I need to be doing that too. But
yeah,
but then I'm not.
Well, you probably do at some point, but the timing isn't now. Everything is fine.
Yes.
And one of the things I'll encourage you to do, Chris, next week as you're here at the intensive, and this is a total shameless plug for Bookkeeper Elite, which is for bookkeeping professionals who want to scale their business, but it's to really talk to other people who have done and been where you want to go. Like a Daniel Honan. That's who you need to speak with here next week. We've interviewed him on the show. You need to bend his ear. He is, number one, military. Mm-hmm. He is being deployed and going to be gone for 15 months. So he was forced, like you, to build a business where he didn't have to be involved. And really, he has zero involvement in the day-to-day operations of his business anymore. And he has 40-something clients.
Yep. And that's probably where I'll be by the end of the year.
And so you need to bend his ear. That's the key to this, y'all, is to find out anymore. I'm like, okay, I need to get this done. So I don't think what, I think who. Mm-hmm. From another voice, I think who can do this. But number one, I'm thinking who's already done this.
Yes.
Why start from scratch? And be careful who you listen to. Like I can tell you, Daniel Honan is somebody you definitely should be listening to. There's probably 99 other people that I can tell you don't listen to them because they hadn't gotten the results that you want. Find the people who got the results, who will be real with you, and they'll share their recipe. Mm-hmm. Take it, cook it just how they do it, and then alter it for your taste.
Yes. Why reinvent the wheel?
Absolutely, man. Spot on right there. Spot on. Because again, what got you here isn't going to get you there.
And I'm already on the trajectory. I'm on, like I said, I'm only doing this part time. I mean, imagine if I was doing this full time, where I would be now. Oh my gosh, it's scary.
Man, you've got to celebrate and acknowledge what you have done. I know you're busier than you can be,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But you need to take some time and just breathe and like take some time off. Ha ha ha! But after busy season, and just acknowledge what you have done. I mean, you've got a recipe that's working like crazy. People would kill to be in your position.
My wife, last year, she scheduled us a cruise, and it happens to be April 18th, so right after tax season. So I told her that's going to be our new thing now. Every year after tax season, we're going to go on a week-long or 2-week vacation.
Yeah. Good for you, man. Is she supportive of you in this?
Yes.
endeavor?
Yes. Like I said, I couldn't do it without her. It's like, I ended up renting an office space, maybe a mile or two away from our house, just so I can just, when I'm there, just focus and not be distracted and get work done and meet with some clients. But she'll come out there and she'll just sit with me and, keep me company, bring me some dinner. Yeah. Oh man, I couldn't imagine how it'd be if I didn't have her with me.
Oh man, that's so awesome. And you know what? As I do these interviews with people who have gotten results like you have, I'm so seeing a common thread here of people whose spouses or partners are supportive, and not just passively supportive or actively supportive. Not that they have to be involved in the business, but they are like a cheerleader,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I told her, I was like, okay, so you have your job. Okay, if I can pay you double what you're getting paid now, will you come and work with me? So that's been my goal, is to double her salary, so she'll come and she'll help me. But
well, that's the topic for a different show, and I can talk to you about
that. But she likes what she's doing. She so like I said, I don't want to force her, but sure. I mean, like I told her, I don't want her to work in the business. I just want her to be part of it, but not have to, because I don't want to have to work in it day after day either. So,
yeah.
But that's my ultimate goal.
Well, the last piece of advice I would give you is that you and your wife work together to kind of create a vision for what your business is going to be like 3 years out, and then also the month after you retire next year.
Well,
what's that going to look like? How is that? What's your life look like, and how does your business make that happen?
We already pretty much discussed that. Like I said,
good.
Living in an RV and traveling back and forth while still running the business. That's the ultimate goal.
Man, that is for guys who like RVs. I guess that's.
Well, I never lived in one, but or did it, but.
Yeah,
that's our trial run after retirement.
There you go.
But yeah,
there you go.
That is my plan, though. And my only other thing is just scaling. The way the BBL is, you build that relationship with the client. But if I grow so much, do I feel like I'm going to lose that relationship with those clients because I'm not doing any of the day-to-day work or not meeting with them anymore? So I guess that's what my employees will be doing.
Yes. Yes and no. I wish that we had time today, Chris, to cover that, because that's a whole thing, a different subject matter. Yes and no is the answer to that, but you have to be very intentional with this, and it starts with before they're your client. Mm-hmm. We'll cover that some next week too. So all of you who are not coming to the intensive next week for OPP, we will record it and you can buy it later. Don't know when that will be, but you can obviously see that. But yes, that is a separate subject, and we'll cover that more next week. And by the way, lean on the people who have already done that and learn from them, learn from their, that's what I do, right? I made so many mistakes, and you're learning from, my school of hard knocks, so to speak.
Oh yeah, man. The program not only just learn how to be a bookkeeper, but how to market it and how to grow it. And I mean, I can see why so many people struggle at the beginning, because they don't have all those tools that's laid out in this program as opposed to some other programs. Man, kudos to you, man. It was a life changer, definitely a life changer for me, and a lot of other people I can tell as well.
Well, thank you for that. But all credit goes to you in terms of always use this. It's like a guide going up a mountain, right? I'm showing you the way, but you're still got the backpack on and you're and you're hoofing it. I'm just making sure you don't fall off the mountain.
Yeah. People ask me.
And
People ask
stand
me
on that.
what's my secret. It's like it's my charming personality.
Most likely to eat lunch by yourself.
Yes.
So, oh man. Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure here to have you today. Thank you for taking time.
Yeah. Look forward to meeting you in person and meeting everybody else. So
Next week.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, if you would like to hear more great conversations just like today's, then I want you to head on over to ilovebookkeeping.com. There, you're going to find all of the shows, the notes, and some other great goodies that we have for you there. Now, if you'd like to be a guest on the I Love Bookkeeping show, there is a link that says Be a Guest. Go in there and we'll walk you through the process of getting on the show. And finally, to discover more about our programs, go to the courses page on the ilovebookkeeping.com site. There you have it, another great episode of I Love Bookkeeping. Thank you for being a proud listener, and thank you for being a bookkeeping professional. Enjoy the rest of your week.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to change your life, you want to grow that biz, it's not as hard as it looks. Be a money guide, a profit coach, step up your game and